Hello there, Parth Sharma this side, bringing you the chess stuff this time. And in this video, I would be looking at top 10 blunders in World Chess Championship history. It's very peculiar that players of the top level do commit some silly errors, or I should say, the critical mistakes which turn out to be silly at the end. And this is compilation of those crucial errors, or I would say fatal errors, even at the highest level. So the first error, or I should say the first beg your pardon, the error which sits at number 10th spot is in game 11 of the World Chess Championship match, 1995 PCA World Chess Championship match between Garry Kasparov, the champion, and Vishwanathan Anand, the challenger. And this is in game 11. As you can see, Anand is white and Kasparov is black. Anand has taken a pawn here, and now it's Kasparov to move. Kasparov plays rook to c4, and it looks like pretty interesting that allowing this fork knight to b6, which turns out to be a fatal mistake. Can you guess, or can you think that how Garry Kasparov took the most out of it? Well, if you found out, that's brilliant. And if you just want to enjoy the show, rook takes b4 check. Obviously, Anand saw this move, and that's why he played king to a3. Now, he was expecting that Kasparov will play rook back to c4, and he would have to give up one of the rooks, either this one or the one at c4, and he would be an exchange up with a completely winning endgame. However, Kasparov had this brilliant tactical shot up his sleeve. Can you guess it? Can you find it? Take a pause and think. Well, the shot that was missed by Anand was rook takes c2, boom! And after which Anand resigned the game. Why was it so? If king takes pawn, rook takes d2, black is 2 pawns up, completely winning endgame. So what happens if rook takes c2? Well, here comes this point. Rook b3 check, king a2 is the only move in this position, and after rook e3 discover check, the rook is under attack, the king is under attack, the king moves, this rook drops, and again black is 2 pawns up with completely winning endgame. Totally hopeless position. As it turned out, after rook c4, knight b6 was a fatal error. Rook takes b4, king a3, and rook takes c2 was the final move, and Anand resigned the game. At number 9, this is a very critical moment indeed. This is game 5 of 1972 World Chess Championship match between Boris Spassky, champion, and his challenger Bobby Fischer. And Spassky had a pretty decent position, although he messed it up in between, and that led to Fischer having a little bit of an edge. But still, the position was playable. As you can see, Fischer has just played knight to f4, and now the best move here should be to play queen back to b1, and the position would still be okay, even though not winning, but totally okay. As it turned out, Spassky makes a terrible mistake in this position, queen to c2. And can you find the winning move in this position? Well, if you found it out, that's brilliant. If you just want to enjoy the show, bishop takes a4, superb deflection move indeed. If this is taken, then queen takes e4, Mate and bishop both are threatened. No defense to that whatsoever. And if you play queen to c1, well then queen takes e4 anyway. The bishop is attacked. The mate is threatened, so there is no time to capture this piece, and it's totally hopeless. There's absolutely nothing he can do. If you play, let's say, bishop to f3, looks like a decent form of defense, but then knight coming here, or even you can play just queen here and it will be all gone. Pretty terrible situation. Or you can just take it and then play knight to e2 check. Let me show you. Play this, you play this, and then knight e2 check wins. That's easy. At number 8, it's from the 1951 World Chess Championship match between Mikhail Botvinnik and David Bronstein. And here Botvinnik has played pawn to e3. This was the game 6, by the way, from that 1951 World Chess Championship match. And what should white play in this position? Well, the simple move that white should play is to play knight to e6, and obviously that would be check, and after that whatever black plays, you can simply play knight to d4 and you will hold the game. However, Bronstein was in a hurry and he plays king to c2. Can you find the winning move for black in this position? Well, if you found king to f3, I'm afraid you have thrown the game away, because after knight to e6 you push the pawn, and after knight d4 check, knight takes the pawn and survives. However, after king to g3, notice knight e6 is not a check, and after knight e6 you can play e2 and there's absolutely no defense. On the next turn you will play king to f2 and bang, no stopping that. Terrible tragedy for Bronstein. He was such a great player, but couldn't become a champion, just like Korchnoi and Ivanchuk, so I feel pity for him. Anyway, at number 7th position, this is a very critical position indeed. This is the game between Anatoly Karpov and Garry Kasparov from the 1987 World Chess Championship match. The 23rd game, which Karpov won and equalized. Karpov has just played rook to c6. The position was quite critical as both players were running very low on time, and Kasparov had something in his mind and he played rook to f3, rook 7 to f3, as it turned out to be a fatal mistake. Karpov took, rook takes f3. His intention is, if he moves queen somewhere else, then rook takes h3 check will be devastating and black will be winning in that position. However, he missed something. Kasparov missed something even under time pressure. Karpov found it out instantly. First he gave a check, king h8, and now what did Karpov play in this position? Take a pause and think. Well, if you found it out, that's awesome. If you just want to enjoy the show, bishop h6. You take my queen, I'll take yours, and it's no problem at all. Pardon me for my arrows. Yep. And there's no problem at all. I have an extra rook as well. And yeah. Rook takes d3, bishop takes f8. And it was all gone. If you take here, then it doesn't help basically. Rook takes is just too powerful. And Kasparov lost that game. But thankfully he won the 24th game. And that was a sigh of relief for him, because winning 24th game meant that he equalized the score 12 apiece, which enabled him to retain the World Championship. Coming at the fifth spot, the famous blunder of the World Chess Championship, probably one of the famous blunders. It became famous because it came at in game 1 itself of the World Chess Championship match between Boris Spassky and Robert James Fischer, which we saw earlier at game 5. And this one was in game 1, but it was Fischer who committed the blunder. And it was touted as a Cold War basically, because Fischer was a super genius and he was at his hot streak, beating Taimanov 6-0 in candidate, beating Larsen 6-0, beating Petrosian 6.5, 2.5, winning the last 4 games against Petrosian in that semi-final match, I should say the final match of the candidates. It was incredible performance by Fischer. And here Fischer makes a club level error. You do not associate that with Fischer, but he took the pawn on h2, g3 traps the bishop, and that is why you do not take it. After h5, he thought that he would bail his bishop out, but unfortunately, let's say if he plays h3, actually Fischer played king e7. What happens if he plays h3? But then comes king g4. Bishop g1 looks like the bishop is escaping. However, after king takes h3, bishop takes f2, he just gains another pawn. After bishop d2, this bishop is totally prisoned, and sooner rather than later it will be executed in the public attendance. What a shocker that was right in the first game. And number 5th spot in this position is game 11 of Kasparov-Karpov World Chess Championship match, or I should say the rematch of the 1984 World Chess Championship match. In 1985, the game 11, Kasparov has just played queen from a4 to g4, and the best move here for Karpov was to play rook here to d6 or to rook to c7. Both moves would have been fine. But what more natural can it be to play rook c to d8, which turns out to be a fatal error? Can you guess the move that Kasparov played to seal the deal? Well, if you found out, that's brilliant. And if you know the point system of the pieces, you can easily realize that it's totally hopeless for Karpov, as Kasparov sacrificed his queen, but the material that he would get after it is absolutely tremendous. Rook takes d7, rook to e8 check, king to h7 only move, and now this discover check, bishop to e4 check. And here Karpov resigned because he's losing too much material. He's losing this rook. Let's play down the variation. g6 and lose the rook. Rook is attacking the bishop, and if bishop moves, then bishop takes, knight, and 2 rooks and a piece for a queen is well worth a compensation. Notice this queen cannot take because rook takes f7 will be checkmate. It's totally hopeless, and that's why after bishop to e4 check, Karpov resigned game number 11, which enabled Kasparov to level the score. At number 4 on this list is a very recent World Chess Championship match which took place around 6 years ago in Sochi. This was the game 6. The scores were level up to now, and Carlsen here could have simply played king b2 and the game goes on. But he plays king to d2. It has turned out to be a fatal error. Can you find the move that Anand played, or did he? Well, the best move here was to play knight takes e5, and after rook takes g8 there is this intermediate check, and if you pull the king back, then rook takes rook is clearly winning. and if you say you go for that, then knight b2 check, and then you take the rook. This is totally winning for black. 2 pawns up. Doesn't matter if he has a bishop pair. If he gobbles up this, the g2 is hanging, as you can see. Pardon my arrows. However, after king to d2, Anand plays a4, which threw back the advantage to Carlsen. And he wasn't going to give him the second chance. Plays king to e2, game continued, and Anand lost the game. Another game which features Anand on the blundering side is at number 3, one of the most heartbreaking blunders by Viswanathan Anand in World Chess Championship match. Anand has initiated a very superb attack indeed, has just played rook to f1 to f4, and Carlsen is one square away from queening, but it doesn't matter to him. He just wants to play rook to h4, initiate queen h7 mate. He has pushed his pawns so far that his king, or I should say Carlsen's king, is absolutely caged on g8. Rook f4 was very ambitious move by Anand, but that wasn't the blunder that we are talking about. Carlsen plays b1 equals queen check. You don't want to move any other piece. You don't want to move your king because he has 2 queens on the board. Ooh. The best move here should have been to play bishop to f1. And let's say queen to d1, rook to h4. There we go, going with the plan. Queen to h5, the only way to defend checkmate on h7. Knight takes, pawn takes, rook takes. Looks like white is a piece down in this position, but the attack is so tremendous that black has to give some material away to continue the game or to restore parity, so to speak. Bishop to f5 is the only way in this position to defend the mate on h7 without giving up the material. But after g6, bishop g6, rook g5, black has nothing better than to just give up the knight back. And after rook takes d5, 3 pawns apiece, little bit of an exposed king, but white will be able to hold the game. However, after this b1 equal queen check, Anand blocked the check with a knight. And here was this idea: if Carlsen had played queen to d1 here, rook to h4, queen to h5, rook h5, g h5, white is actually winning this position. After knight e3, the idea is to play knight here, g6, and queen h5, and then knight g6. Basically, the idea is to bring this knight somehow to g6, somehow to play bishop takes d5. Pardon my arrows, as I've already mentioned. And the attack is totally crushing for Anand. However, he missed something. After knight to f1, the knight has moved from this square, and Carlsen quickly plays queen to e1, and after which Anand resigned the game, because if he plays rook here, that rook will be swiped off, and Carlsen has an extra queen, or I should say an extra rook in this position, which would enable him to win the game. And after that, Carlsen will play queen to a5, swipe off this pawn. This pawn will run through. Devastation. Superb attacking game was played by Anand, but equally well defended by Magnus. No wonder he was world champion that year. At number 2, the fighter Kochnoi against Anatoly Karpov. Such was their rivalry because Kochnoi had defected from the USSR, and there was some animosity among the Soviets and Kochnoi, and they didn't want him to win. Actually, nobody wanted him to win, except for the rest of the world. So we never really wanted him to win. So they betted on Karpov. Karpov was playing well, and here Karpov has played rook c6, setting up a trap. And best move here for Korchnoi is to play either g3 or g4 to defend off the back rank mate. So easy it seems, but actually it isn't, because if you play h3 trying to defend this back rank checkmate, then comes rook c1, king h2, and then knight f1. Ooh, and we have seen this checkmate before as well, this Arabian checkmate. Very famous checkmate indeed. However, after rook c6, what more natural could be to play rook a1 to fending off this rook c1 check. However, this was a fatal error. Can you spot mate in 3 in this position? Well, if you can, that's awesome. And if you just want to see what Karpov did to finish the game off, knight to f3 check, bang, and after which Korchnoi resigned the game. No way out at all. What will you do? King goes here, knight f2 checkmate, smothered checkmate. And if pawn takes, then rook g6 check, and another smothered checkmate, or I should say Pillsbury mate. If your chess vocabulary is good, you might as well know them. Knight f2 checkmate. Tragic, tragic, tragic for Korchnoi. But that's it, set number 2. Can you guess what sets at number 1? Well, we are going way back in time, when actually our forefathers wouldn't have been born. And this is the game between Mikhail Chigorin against William Steinitz from the year 1892 World Chess Championship match. Breaking so far back in time, but the blunder is so enormous that it cannot hide the mention in the worst blunders. White is totally dominating in this position. Look at all white pieces. They are totally in black's area, basically trying to initiate some decisive play, literally crushing play. However, black also has their own set of counter-attack. There is a straight attack on h2, and if this bishop moves away somewhere, then this pawn is dropping. Black is totally winning that position. Right now, white is totally winning this position. There's no doubt at all. You gobble up b7, and I'll see who can stop you. However, if you play bishop to b4 in this position, which is what Chigorin did, then then you should take a dive into Pacific Ocean and never come back, because that is mate in 2. Rook takes h2 check. Chigorin resigned the game. It's absolutely worthless to delay the inevitable for one move. Just allow the checkmate on the board. King here, rook dg2 checkmate, and that would be that. So I hope you liked the list of top 10 blunders. If you did, then don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe to my channel. Do consider supporting me on Patreon and PayPal, because your support is my motivation which keeps me going. I would be bringing more material on chess, and I would be publishing them at Patreon as well. And to get the exclusive updates of all the material of chess, do join there. See you in the next video. Till then, stay safe. Cheers. Bye.